Let's talk about supplements. I know that a lot of you have asked me questions about supplements. The videos I've done on supplements, you all seem to like. And I have some really strong opinions on supplements. So I want to make sure if you are taking a supplement that you're taking the right one. So in this video, I'm going to tell you 3 of them that are actually worth taking. So that implies there are some that aren't worth taking. And yes, the answer is yes, there are some that aren't worth taking. But these 3, you're going to want to take them. And some of them are going to shock you. I have to say this. Why would you take a supplement? Let's just really be clear. And I would say there's a couple different reasons why you would need a supplement. For starters, if your health is in a deficit in any area, if there's some place that you're just not finding your health is optimal, supplements can be really helpful to pulse in and bring the level of your health back up. But they should be a supplement to a phenomenal diet, and we'll talk about that here in a moment. Second reason you would want to take a supplement is because your food sources are not great. Now, let's talk about that. Unfortunately, here in America, we have an issue where most of the food that comes from conventional farms are completely void of nutrients. There is a lot of interesting statements out there, like the broccoli we eat today has 10 times less nutrients than the broccoli that our grandparents ate. I don't know if that's an exact amount, but I do want to get across that what you are eating as far as food goes right now, if you're getting it from a conventional farm, you are most likely getting a depleted version of nutrients in that vegetable. This is why I'm a huge regenerative farm fan. I like using it, leaning into the local farms. I like knowing your farmer. I like knowing what's in their soil. A good farmer will tell you, and that's going to be a more nutrient-rich food. So then you would be getting more of those nutrients out of your food. The third reason that you might want to look at supplementing can be because of any kind of extreme gut dysbiosis. So those of you who know you've had some leaky gut, you know you've been on multiple rounds of antibiotics, you know you have a depleted microbiome, you combine that with a food that's anemic of nutrients, and you've got yourself a situation where your nutrients are starting to go down and you're not getting what you need from your food. So those are sort of the 3 ways that I like when I'm working with a patient. I like to look at those 3 areas to decide how many supplements this person should be taking. Okay, with that in mind, here are the 3 that I think most people need to take. So even if those 3 things aren't issues for you. So here's number 1. Ready's my favorite supplement. Vitamin D. Now, what's interesting is that 60 to 70% of Americans are deficient in vitamin D. And part of that, what's interesting about that is that 93% of our day is spent indoors. So we're not even getting outside to be able to get our vitamin D. And then when we get outside, we need to have our skin exposed to be able to bring in enough vitamin D. So it's really, really important that you supplement with vitamin D. Last year, we had a beautiful opportunity to go to Tromsø, Norway, and see the Northern Lights. And our guide that was taking us out to go hunting for the lights, I was asking him, what is it like to live in the dark for 3 months? And he was explaining that experience. And one of the things that I said is, do y'all worry about your vitamin D levels? And he's like, oh, everybody takes vitamin D here. So it's interesting that in an area where it's dark 3 months out of the year, they know to take vitamin D. But in another area where somebody's staying inside all the time, not getting the natural sun, they don't know to take vitamin D. It's almost the same exact thing. It's just that one is very obvious and the other isn't. So we need vitamin D. And here's one of the reasons you need it. It's not just for immunity, which is a big reason, but it's for your neurotransmitters and your hormones. You need vitamin D to make estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. So for my perimenopause and menopausal women, please, 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 let's get to know your vitamin D levels. Please look at supplementing vitamin D in. And the value of vitamin D should be pretty high. Your vitamin D should be in the 70s for good hormonal health. The other thing that vitamin D does is it helps you make serotonin. So if you're low in vitamin D, you're not going to make as much serotonin. Well, okay, let's put that into context, because if you're menopausal, you're losing estradiol, which was stimulating serotonin. So if I take a woman in her mid-40s and she has low vitamin D and she is losing estradiol from the perimenopausal experience, I look at that wicked combo and I will tell you, you're looking at a very depressed woman. So I've done a lot on estrogen, all the sex hormones. I'll continue to do more. I know a lot of you are asking me about bioidenticals and all that. That's coming. But I do want to point out that that's a wicked combo, low vitamin D and perimenopause. It sets you up for depression. And the easiest thing to do is to up your vitamin D through supplementation. So a lot of questions I get are how much vitamin D? The research says about 2,500 IUs and per day, and it should be with food. I've clinically had to go into higher doses with patients before. I've had to go into as high as 10,000 IUs a day. So don't fear going too much. What you want to do is check your vitamin D levels very, very consistently and see if it's going up. So I will leave a link for my favorite. I have a liquid vitamin D I use, and we saw clinically in my practice over and over and over again, this one brought up the vitamin D levels. So I'll leave a link for the one that I like there. Number 2 is potassium. Okay, this one is super interesting because I haven't talked to you about it, and I think it's important we understand it. So I found this really interesting stat that was showing that 97% of Americans are low in potassium. Okay, why would that be? That's my first question, and I really believe that that's from soil depletion. But you also lose potassium when you sweat. You know where else you lose potassium? And this is new, coming out in my new book. And that's that a woman that is menstruating is losing potassium every single month in her menstrual blood. So there's actually been done measurements where they looked at what was in menstrual blood, and there were a variety of electrolytes: magnesium, sodium, potassium, and calcium every single month you're losing. And if it's not in your soils, and you're not bringing it in, and you're sweating a lot, it's like a triple whammy on potassium. And potassium you need for cognition. It's really important for your ability to hold on to information, for your ability to learn new information. So bringing potassium back in can be really helpful. There's a lot of different ways you can do that. We have 2 mineral companies that we absolutely love. I will leave links for both of them in there that have potassium in them. You'll figure out which one's right for you. But let's add some potassium in. And then I'm even going to throw this out. This is brand new information that I have only been sharing in my Reset Academy. So this is the first time publicly I'm sharing this, that I really think women who are cycling, when you bleed, you need to get in a double dose of those minerals because you're shedding it every single month. So let's add those back in. So something as simple as, many of you know I love Element. So something as simple as an Element pack, double up on that during those first couple of days of your menstrual cycle, so we add potassium back in, so we get that cognitive experience that you deserve to have in your brain. Number 3. This one's a twisted one. I got to explain a little nuance with it. But number 3 is fish oil. Okay, I have a strong opinion about fish oil, and here it is. So there is a balance of fatty acids you need in your body. It's an omega-3, 6, 9 balance. And so when we looked at the thousands of fish oil studies, so much of it was about how powerful fish oil was at bringing up omega-3s. What we forgot to talk about was that the Western diet has us really bringing up a toxic version of omega-6. And omega-6 is inflammatory. So when you bring up omega-3s through fish oil supplementation in a toxic omega-6 fatty acid environment of the body, somebody who's eating those bad oils all the time, yes, It brings down inflammation. Okay, check this out. I have a free fasting guide for you all. It's free. And it's going to teach you all the basics of fasting. It's going to teach you how to kill hunger when you fast, which is really cool. And it's going to show you how to break your fast, among many other things. All you got to do is click on this link right here and enjoy. So for those of you that feel like you just haven't been as strong with your nutrition as you would like, you're learning, you've been on a really standard Western diet with all the inflammatory foods for so long, those of you that are needing to bring inflammation down, joints are hurting, brain fog, gaining weight, then omega-3, a pure omega-3 will be amazing. And I highly recommend it. But if you have cleaned up your diet, you actually can take an omega-3 and you can throw yourself out of balance. So you want to make sure that you are taking an omega-3 supplement that also has a balance of omega-6 and omega-9 in it. So it's omega-3, 6, 9. And my absolute favorite is from a company called Pureform. I will put the link in the notes. When I take Pureform, I'm like, wow, like I can feel it in my skin, feels softer, my brain feels brighter. And it works really well because I'm really controlled with my fats. I'm very careful what fats I get because I don't want them to slant inflammatory. So I say all that to say, it would be easy just to stand here and say, take more omega-3, but I need to know where your diet's at. And I want to make sure that those of you that are continuing to come back to my videos, thank you, by the way, I love educating you, that this feels like a consult with me, like that you're getting the knowledge that the patients were getting. So I want to make sure that you understand the nuance, because again, on videos like this, it's like a 15-minute video. What you're getting is that you're getting just one little piece of the information. I want to make sure I'm teaching you how to think and how to think this through. So on this omega-3 issue, we've got to realize that if you've cleaned up your diet, you need a real balanced one. And it's good to take. If you're on a high inflammatory diet, you want to really have one that's high in omega-3s, and that while you work on making sure that you get those oils out of your diet. And then once you have your diet nailed, you can go to the more balanced ones. With potassium, we want to make sure if you're a menstruating woman, you're increasing it. We want to make sure if you're eating food from a conventional farm, that you're leaning into more potassium. If you're fasting a lot, you're going to need more potassium. And vitamin D, it's more important, probably the vitamin D levels are probably the most important for menopausal and perimenopausal women because you're already losing your hormones. So one of my pet peeves on social media is that we have experts that stand up and say, do this, not that. And I'm here to help you think the nuance through, just like if we were sitting in a consult together. I want you to be the master of your own health. And I refuse to just give you the simple answer. I want to have you think it through. And let me know if that helps. It's just a personal value of mine. So, as always, you're your own N of one. You figure out what works for you. If you need help with this, come into my Reset Academy. I will leave links below. This is where we're helping. I have a team of coaches in there. If that feels right for you, come on in. But the most important thing is you don't give up on yourself. And I don't want you to fall prey to this idea that one supplement is going to change your life. It's supplementing what you need and combining that with a really healthy fasting lifestyle that's going to give you the results. Okay? So let me know if that's helpful. And, as always, I love hearing your feedback as to how this information changed your life. We are a community here. And I'm not giving up on you. I don't want you giving up on you. Deal? Hope that helps. I don't want you to waste money on supplements. Your body's a miracle. Buy the right ones. Sometimes you don't buy them at all. Check out this video so you don't waste money on your supplement. When we do the same probiotic over and over and over again, what we're doing is we're creating a monoculture in our gut.